All right, hello and welcome to week 7 of the Open League for the ALTTPR League. Today we've got Noble Foxes versus Missing Two Bows, a matchup in the, let me double check here, the Ganon's Tower division. A lot on the line here. I'm joined in the booth by Floyd. How's it going, Floyd?
Hey, it's going great. Good to see these guys racing. Yeah, this race has a lot of potential for the playoffs.
Yeah, so Missing Two Bows with 30 points currently, Noble Foxes with 27. A win is 3 points. There's also Amish Paradise in that division with 27 points. So the top two teams move on to the playoffs next week. So a lot riding on the line here. We do have Enemizer today, so we're going to see the enemies all shuffled around, the bosses all shuffled around. Other than that, it is a 7-7 seed. So what you would normally expect: defeat the 7 crystals, get to Ganon's Tower, defeat Ganon. So yeah, we're in for a good one today.
Yeah, we are, and we're seeing kind of the standard start so far. Heading to the village, heading down south.
Yeah, we saw Ray and Nobly both one on each side do the Houlihan strat to get money right off the bat so that they can buy the bombs here over in Saha's hut. Probably going to head over to that Eastern Palace area just to check what's in Saha's hut. As Nobly takes a death, unfortunately, from a Wizrobe. Eastern Palace, unlike normal, you don't need the bow to beat it. The enemies that are in the back of Eastern, the Igors that are typically there, will be shuffled with other enemies. So we'll have to see kind of what is in Eastern. You still want a lamp. Lamp probably has more value in Enemizer than it does in most other modes because you don't know what's in those dark rooms. It could be chickens, it could be Lionels, it could be anything. As Nobly having a little bit of fun with these rollers down at South Shore.
Yeah, that's right. As we head into Mini Mordorm, well, typically Mini Mordorm, we'll see what we have in here. Very nice enemies that don't move around as much, making this bomb strat a lot easier.
That one squeaked away, but that's fine. As we see, Hayfield is going to make their way through Kakariko. Yeah, not anything super exciting yet. We do find a red boomerang in Mini Moldorm Cave. As we find a Moon Pearl in Blind's Hut, so we are starting to find some value here. We've had to eventually. So Moon Pearl and Blind's Hut, both runners finding a decent amount of money, it looks like. The seeds so far, I mean, one of the things you want to find in Enemizer early is you want to find some money just to buy bombs if you need. You want to find hearts because you can get one shot by a lot of enemies in this game on green mail. Even up to 6 hearts, you can get one shot. Those rollers that you see Ray going up against right now, or that you just saw Ray go up against, are not very friendly. They do a lot of damage early on in the game.
Yeah, and a relatively tame chicken house for what you typically see in Enemizer.
Yeah, finding a sword will also be a really nice find when the runners do find that. As we do have a flute that was picked up by Ray. I missed where that was. Because there's, it's Enemizer. You want to kill enemies with a sword. And one of the unique things about Enemizer is thieves are killable in Enemizer, or at least in this version of Enemizer. So a sword will let you kind of get away from those thieves without them stealing all your items.
And nobly going for the fake flippers, which is very risky on Enemizer, especially when you get birds in the water.
Yeah,
So we see there.
There's a lot of things in Enemizer that make some of those pretty typical glitches a little bit more dangerous. That fake flipper state, if you get hit by anything, it's not a damage shuffle. If you get hit by anything in fake flipper state, it will just kill you. That's a measure put in to prevent the game from soft locking and getting you stuck. So If it can put you back on the ground where you jumped in from, it will. But if you've moved any screens, it's just going to kill you. As we see, 10 arrows up on Lumberjack, so nothing really exciting there. I mean, up to this point, Seed really hasn't given us much. Flute and a hookshot. Guess we're going to the mountain. That's where everything has to be.
Yeah, I think so. It's looking that way.
So for those in chat who do not know, this is a co-op. It's much like week 1, except for now all the enemies are shuffled. The runners are both in voice chat together. They are communicating everything they find. It is the same seed that they're both playing. The times for co-op will be the average of the 2 runners as they finish. So you may see runners do things where they only go into an area and grab one item, like you're seeing Ray do here, just grabbing that moon pearl and leaving. That's because both Ray and Houston Baba are in voice chat together to discuss kind of where things are in the seed to try to get this done as quickly as possible.
Get the flute activated over here on Ray's side. That'll get us up to the mountain a lot easier.
Yeah, based off what we've found so far, that's the only thing I can think, to go. We've seen South Shore. I guess we haven't seen really much of the inside of Eastern Palace, but yeah, I think we're going up to the mountain. And while we have some downtime, I see chat talking about it a little bit. Do you have a like personal favorite boss in a different room that you like to see an enemizer? I know that Helmacopter's a really big one, the Helmasaur in that Skullwoods boss area. Do you have a personal favorite that you like to see?
Helmacopter's always fun to see. I don't know about a favorite, but I hate seeing Argus in Skullwoods. That fight is just a mess.
Is there any boss that anyone likes to see in Skullwoods?
Mordorm's not bad in Skullwoods.
Yeah, Moldorm's not too bad anywhere, really.
There's that flute. It was inside the dam.
As Ray getting chased here by a Eastern Palace knight. Yeah, it's Anemizer's really scary because at any point, as you can see, Hayfield running away from thieves and mini Moldorms and all the craziness. Yeah, any enemy can be anywhere, and so you're not really safe until you have blue mail or 6 hearts, because at any point you can just get taken out. As we see the fire rod on top of Spectacle Rocks, so that is something that the runners are probably going to need, and we're going to need to find a mirror to get that.
Yeah, definitely some good knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, Missing 2 Bows knows where that hook shot is. Something that Noble Foxes need to go find pretty quickly, I think.
All right, as we're seeing Ray jump into Paradox Cave here as Houston gonna go get Uncle. Doesn't really have a great weapon for escape. Bomb escape on Enemizer is very risky because some enemies really don't die well to bombs. So as we find our glove in the 2 chests of Paradox, lower, upper, lower, who knows anymore. But there is a glove in Paradox Cave as Ray is making their way up to the top.
Yep, definitely going to need that glove. Gets us into a lot of places. Hook shot's pretty nice when you gotta use bombs to kill your enemies.
And a Beamos for, as you saw in Hayfield. Again, you just start walking out of Uncle's hut and there's a Beamos just sitting in the courtyard trying to get you. As, again, we're seeing here, Houston doing a nice job of getting through that first room in an Enemizer as Hayfield is having fun with the big yellow spike. Yep, remembering to grab those 2 hearts. Uh-oh, here comes... Oh, just got through without taking more damage. As we're seeing Houston go further down, and Nobly is now making their way up to the mountains, so we're going to see them finding the glove here soon. And I will say, Enemizer has some unique things like this. So knowing how to kill some of these enemies with bombs, knowing how many bombs it takes to kill some enemies is really important information that you don't really see in normal seeds, but an Enemizer can mean a lot. You know, those enemies and their damage tables with different weapons. It is good information to have because you may have to do a bomb escape in Enemizer, and you may need all 10 bombs to do it.
Also, knowing which enemies you can stun with which weapons too. It's a big help.
Hayfield doing a very nice job of getting through these rooms as Houston is taking some damage off of that snake to prepare a death warp perhaps, and that's what it looks like we're going to get. Yeah, these enemies, I forget what they're called, but these burrowing ones, not the best to death warp off of, because you can see here, they don't do damage when they're underground. As we see the back of Escape, everything is stunnable, so that's nice to see. And we're going to see a blue cane, which is very nice in Enemizer. That is a nice safety to have. You're going to have to grab some magic somewhere, but that blue cane for safety is a very, very nice find. And with the lamp and the cape, we're a sword away from Aga being our logical Dark World access. With a glove and hook shot, you can get to a lot of the Dark World with just those 2 items. So we're seeing Ray now have to fight off that Lionel and that Mini Helma. Here comes the 2 thieves and the Jazz Hands and the Vulture. There is just some craziness going on in Desert Palace today. And another Lionel. So definitely want to be careful in the desert when we come back.
Yeah, he's gonna find the blue male here in the cave, just as Nobly picks up theirs. So that'll definitely help with Enemizer. So with that glove, that opens up Zora as well. And looks like we've got enough money on both sides that we can, that may be our progression here.
Yeah, the fun thing about Zora, are you a fan of lag in this game?
None of us are fans of lag, but it's something we have to deal with.
In Enemizer, every single one of those, little Zora guys that, as we see Nobly getting robbed here of some bombs, every single one of those enemies in Zora is randomized. And let me tell you, I have yet to play a Enemizer seed where the Zora area isn't just awful to walk through because of that lag.
Enemizer definitely makes a lot of areas very laggy.
As Nobly finding that hook shot in the back of Saha's hut, gonna head up to the mountain now with that information and find his glove as well.
Yeah, with lag, for example, if you think the second room of Thieves Town is bad normally, play a couple randos and see how bad it can get.
Oh, Ray playing dodge. Oh, the bird flies away. Thank goodness. So Ray actually able to pull off that fake flipper and not get destroyed by the bird. This is scary territory. Gonna try to get into Waterfall Ferry, and it looks like Ray is gonna be able to do it. That is very impressive. It's difficult to move in the water, and with the enemies being all randomized, it's very easy to die on the way here. So very good job by Ray. As we're seeing Houston take that dip into Eastern Palace. With Lamp, this is not too bad of a play. You can check out everything a lot safer. Still no sword, so probably can't beat the boss here, unless they find a sword or maybe a hammer inside of this dungeon. But that's kind of what we're looking for, is either a hammer to get us Dark World access or a sword to let us do Castle Tower to get Dark World access.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's what we're looking for. Let's see, we're getting that Zora check right now.
Ooh,
Interesting.
vanilla.
And with Enemizer, Eastern is not bow locked. So it changes a couple things that we can do in here. We can get to the boss very easily. Can't beat him yet, like you said. Still need an actual weapon.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Houston does go all the way to the boss room, because there is value in Enemizer of just knowing what the boss is so that you don't waste time coming back without being able to defeat that boss. As we're going through Eastern Palace here, we do see Nobly up doing Spiral Caves, so finishing up the mountain over there. Yeah, the question is just, where is that sword? Maybe it's here on Hobo. Nope, there it is.
With that sword, he can now beat Eastern completely.
Yeah, unless the boss is Argus
Or Trinex.
or Trinex.
Or Cold Stare.
Or Cold Stare, though we do know where Fire Rod is to beat Cold Stare. Yeah, there's a couple bosses that can't be beaten. There's a couple bosses that honestly you just don't want to fight with a fighter sword. If you go back there and see Vitreous, I would not be surprised to see them bail out with that fighter sword that does put Aga into logic. So would not be surprised to see that be the way that they decide to go with this if the boss of Eastern is something crazy like that. And I do believe the last item is on the boss, and Houston just gonna leave.
Interesting. Now they say knowledge is power. I wonder if it's not worth going to just see who the boss is. We do know it is a crystal, so we will need to come back and beat Eastern here.
Yeah, maybe they're saying, Ray, you have the blue cane. Why don't you go to that back room of Eastern? Because that room where the key dropping Igor usually is can be a little bit scary in Enemizer, and Ray having that blue cane could do that a little bit easier, but doesn't have magic to use it. Yeah, we'll have to see if Ray chooses to grab the big chest here and go up to the boss area, or if Ray is also just going to head out.
Yeah, because that sword does put the Agate Tower play in logic, so we have Dark World access.
All right, what monstrosities will await us back here? That is not fun.
Tried to break out that blue cane.
Luckily, those enemies that drop bombs on you, they do die in one shot to the hook shot. Ooh, and a fairy was dropped, so that's a little bit of magic. Fairy, so actually going to do pretty well in this room. Just has to find which guard has that key. Again, there it is. So, yeah, getting 2 small magic drops. Can use the blue cane just a little bit now for safety, and through probably one of the harder rooms early on in the game, that Eastern Palace room there. So we're gonna get a look at what the boss is for Eastern Palace. As Nobly about to get their flippers as well. And I will say, in Enemizer, Hookshot and Boomerang are your friend. Oh boy.
There's quite a room back there.
Now, again, good knowledge of the game, knowing that the Hinoxes there do die to 1 bomb. So clearing 2 of those Hinoxes out is going to make life a little bit easier for Ray to finish up this room. Very nicely done. That is a scary room.
On a nice full magic drop.
And our boss is Moth. That's an easy one.
Not bad. Should be pretty quick work. Don't have to worry about a moving floor, which is the big problem with Moth.
Takes 16 fighter sword slashes. Yeah, Moth definitely outside of the Skull Woods arena, one of the easier bosses to kill, as we find a book, which that gives us desert. Other than the torch in desert, that's a pretty big find. That could be perhaps meaning that Aga is not required. I mean, Houston is in Aga right now, but I would think that we see Ray follow up on that book.
Yeah, I think it's a good call, especially in a co-op seed. Get someone over there to make those checks.
Interesting. We don't have Ray flute. Where's Ray going? Ray perhaps forgetting that they have the flute to get to desert area.
Did he not activate it? I don't remember if we saw him activate it. I think we did.
I'm not sure. Definitely a little bit of a oops there, but regardless, going to end up going over to the desert area as they menu over the flute. Remember, oh right, I've got a flute. There we go. Ray finally getting that flute and making his way over to Desert Palace here, as Hayfield and Nobly both in Eastern. Probably gonna see. Yep, there we go with the blue cane. Gonna see Hayfield go back and go straight to that boss. So Hayfield does have some magic in this room. Still probably gonna want to use that hook shot to kill those guys, but doing a pretty good job so far of surviving in this room without taking a lot of damage, and does get through. So this room and the back room right before the boss are both really scary in Eastern to be on 4 hearts. So we'll have to see, how well Hayfield utilizes that blue cane and make sure that they don't die back here. Having blue armor does help.
Yeah, certainly. When you're playing Animizer, you want to pick up pretty much all the open hearts and safeties you can. Some of these rooms can get very tough. As we see Ray in a kill room over here in Desert with some very different enemies. Hopefully we'll go find the big key here and we won't be locked out by boots.
Hayfield also taking advantage of that knowledge that bombs kill those Hinoxes, and very nicely done. 2 bombs to kill all 3.
So far, I haven't found anything in Desert to tell us it's not Aga, so I think unless something is on this big chest, or possibly the boss, then Houston's going to give us our first look into the Dark World. Another sword almost confirming it's an Aga seed.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a nice item to find. Doing the castle tower with Master Sword is a lot nicer than doing it with Fighter. And Animizer, just in general, the better sword you can find, the better your day is going to be. So knowledge of that Master Sword is nice to have. Would not be surprised if we see Houston grab that relatively soon because they do have the flute. We might see Houston do some North Dark World and into Village of Outcast stuff, but definitely going to be grabbing that Master Sword, probably before committing to too many dungeons.
Yeah, we see HayfieldBay on the way in there to Desert to catch up with Ray, following in his footsteps. Be interesting to see if Nobly goes to Aga as well, or if he's going to follow over to Desert.
Oh wow, this is not a fun room. Ooh, and Ray takes a death. That is not a fun room in the back of Desert there. That was 3 Hinoxes and some other shenanigans, so not the friendliest room for sure.
Yeah, we're going to stick with it though, as we do know that Landmos, or the boss back there, rather, not be Landmos, has a key. Or not a key, has a key item, possibly.
Yeah, a hammer or a glove would give us Dark World access without Aga, but we're seeing Houston now on Aga defeating that. So we are going to get some information on Dark World. This could be our way into Dark World as Ray is having some difficulty taking a lot of hits here. Going to grab both these hearts under these pots and definitely the 2 hearts in the room right before the boss. Definitely not a walk in the park through Desert Palace.
Yeah.
It looks like Nobly is going to head up to Aga Tower.
Yeah, I think that's the smart play.
I'm surprised you don't grab your Master Sword first. Oh, they don't know about it yet.
They don't. He's just about to find out about it. And it is quite a walk to get it. You've got to get the small key, go all the way to the vanilla big key location in desert, and then walk all the way over to that big chest for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nobly finding out about that Master Sword as they're walking in, and it does look like Aga is going to be required as Ray finishes Desert Palace.
Yeah, but another Mothula. I mean, that's a nice boss to have in Enemizer. Something quick and easy.
I believe that means we won't see any more of those Mothulas, because I believe that this is full boss shuffle, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, that should be correct. So there's 2 moths down. We won't see any more.
So the way that full boss shuffle works, if anybody isn't aware, is that in the normal game, you have 2 Armos Knights, you have 2 Moldorms, you will have 2 Landmos, and then you see 1 of every other boss. The 2 being that there's 1 of each of those Light World bosses in GT. In full shuffle, 3 random bosses are selected to be duplicates, and the rest of the bosses are single, and then they're shuffled throughout the entire world. So that means we won't see any more moths, but we could see any other boss, and we could potentially see any of them twice. We don't have knowledge yet on what the other 2 double bosses are. But we are seeing Houston go and get the Dark World information. We do have to beat Aga to get to this Dark World, so not the end of the world, clearly, that Houston went and did that. We didn't find anything in Desert, so gonna have to see what the Dark World has in store for us.
Hookshot and Glove able to easily get over here to the west side of the world. You get that early cape, so definitely taking a look at Bumper Ledge is going to be a good call here.
It looks like our pendants are Thieves Town, Palace of Darkness, and Swamp Palace. So that mirror could be in GT.
Very true, yeah.
And actually, with Palace of Darkness being a pendant, we may not see a bow this seed. You can get through everything else in this game except for Pod without a bow in Enemizer, because the mimic rooms in GT are also randomized with random enemies. So we may not see a bow.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe all mimics are killable with your sword.
Yeah, especially in rooms where normally a bow is required. I know that's for sure. I do believe you can still have the Igors that are only bow killable, but they will not be in those rooms where you need to kill enemies to progress. As we see Nobly working on Aga here. Houston taking an unfortunate death in the back of Skullwoods, still working off 4 hearts. And it doesn't look like Houston has grabbed that blue mail yet, so definitely a bit of a scary world for Houston. You know,
yeah, that's interesting with the knowledge, that his teammate would have gave him of where blue mail is and where Master Sword is.
Yeah,
the quick dive over there wouldn't be that bad of an idea.
I just remembered Mir can't be in GT because we need that fire rod on top of Spectacle Rock, but it could be in a really nasty spot. So, ooh, what?
I think he got hit by that roller that goes through the rooms. Another fun part of Enemizer.
All right, as we see our other 3 runners in Aga Tower or finishing up Aga. Yeah, still kind of looking for a hammer. I think would open up a lot. That's probably our most important thing to kind of open up the world right now. Mitts would open up the Mire area. Houston just missing getting grabbed by that wall master there.
The noble foxes finally make it to the dark world. Looks like following the same route that Houston made. Imagine he'll go up, check catfish. No, just gonna go straight west.
Yeah, big difference right now is that Nobly has beaten Eastern and has access to Desert Palace whenever he wants it. Houston still has not finished that Eastern Palace. Houston went and checked the big key chest and then left the dungeon. So currently right now, Noble Fox is up 1 crystal in the head-to-head.
Yep, and Houston finding that red cane too over in C-shaped house.
Yeah, that's a nice item to find. That's another weapon that you could use if you wanted, but it also breaks the game in a lot of ways. And those Swamp Palace is a pendant, and doing Diver Down and Enemizer is about the scariest thing you can imagine. You can still do Icebreaker with it.
Yep. And it will be required as TR is a crystal. And Myers as well, so we definitely need that red cane.
If you're just joining us, this is week 7 of the Open League for the ALTTPR League, via Link to the Past Randomizer League. It is co-op Enemizer 7-7, which means that both teams, Noble Foxes and Missing Two Bows, are sitting in a voice chat room talking to each other about the same seed, trying to finish it as fast as possible. I am CJ. I'm joined by Floyd in the booth. Go ahead, if you haven't already, go and give our runners a follow. They are putting on an excellent show so far. And yeah, stick around because we're about to see who Argus we can beat Argus.
Yep, Argus a good boss to have once we get the hook shot. These 2 teams are currently 1st and 3rd in their division. A win here for the Missing Two Bows will guarantee them a playoff spot. Sweeping this week will guarantee them the 1st seed in the playoffs.
Oh no. Unfortunately, Houston Baba, again, we talked about it, on that green mail, choosing not to go pick up blue mail. Those puffs for Argus do hurt. You don't usually think about it because by the time you get to Swamp Palace and Randomizer, you usually have some decent equipment and aren't really taking too much damage. But green mail Argus is a fight that hurts.
Partners going into what we call Hype Cave here. Finding the ice rod and is it a bottle, I believe? Yep.
Yeah, I believe that was
with a fairy in it.
Yep. So that's a quick turn in. Yeah, the big thing up to this point, Aga seed. So we had to beat Aga, and kind of slow moving. The seed has not given us a ton of things to do. The hook shot in Saha led to the glove on the mountain. Still looking for a hammer, still looking for a second glove. Even on blue mail, those rollers hurt so bad. You could see on Ray's side.
Yeah, but
they're going to get a look into pod on Hayfield's side.
Yep, and Nobly's going to attempt his Argus fight. He does have blue mail, also has that Master Sword. Nope. I'm sorry, he does not. He still has Fighter.
Yeah, Nobly went up to Castle Tower right before Hayfield found that Master Sword. but having an extra heart and blue mail puts Nobly in a much more comfortable spot to take a hit or two from these little puffs off Argus, as we're going to see 8 sword spins, I believe it takes to kill Argus here. So if you like the animation of Link spinning around, you can watch it for a while.
We have Ray and Hayfield checking out Pun, and their partners both going through Thieves Town right now.
As just a red 20, but that is a green pendant done. So kind of in a weird spot where the runners have to, both teams have to kind of decide, do we want to dive crystals or well, which pendant do we want to dive? And they're both splitting up as we see 1.5 million guards in the way to the attic for Thieves Town. Definitely not a friendly room as well. Again, we're going to see a lot of these kind of scary rooms in Enemizer. So Houston doing a good job so far, is on half a heart, gonna have to hit that switch, and does make it through.
Well, he makes it through one room, but he's got 3 more.
Ooh, Tempered Sword on the arena bridge for Ray. Oh, we did see that on Hayfield's side too. So we do have knowledge of Tempered Sword. That is another really nice thing to find. Tempered Sword, just like in the normal Link to the Past randomizer, is a huge upgrade on Master Sword. And when you don't know what these enemies are going to be, that helps even more.
Houston's he's choosing to complete Thieves Town. He did die to Argus, so he's a little more incentive to do that. Nobly beat the boss and peaced out.
Yeah, that's an option you can take in Thieves Town. It is a pendant. In Enemizer, you don't have to bring Blind back to the cell. You can just go straight to the boss and see what it is. So yeah, you can beat the boss and just head out. That is a guaranteed, item from the green pendant as well by leaving. So not a terrible decision. I think a lot of people like to leave Thieves Town early, as the basement does have a piece of heart. So Houston is now on 5 hearts. At least there's that consolation prize.
Yeah, with no hammer, they're leaving a potential item.
As we're going to see Nobly get that ice rod and that bottle here. I don't think we've seen anybody turn in that bottle yet, so we'll have to see if Nobly flutes over there really quick.
Yeah, I would think with the save and quit, that's what we'll see here.
I mean, we're kind of back where we were. There's not a lot to do.
No, I think it's got to be Sick Kid or Pod. Can't think what else we have left. Or it
Ooh,
could
and
be
a
that
Wallmaster in the back of Pod. You don't want to see that, because that makes hammer jumping
nearly
ooh,
impossible.
Mitts in Turtle Room. Well, it wasn't Turtle Room today, but normally what is Turtle Room? We did find Mitts, so that is our Dark World access to a lot of places, including Dark Death Mountain. We will be seeing Nobly head over there immediately. You do need those mitts.
And nothing on Sick Kid. It's like Nobly's probably going to turn in that green pendant. And then I would think head up to Dark Death Mountain.
Well, Nobly will still have to dive Pod to get their mitts. As we see Hayfield just grabbing their mitts from the back of Pod. So, ooh, and red mail in the maze. That is definitely nice, considering that these runners are still at the 4 to 6 heart range. Really nice to find red mail. That's a nice safety to have. Prevents a lot of damage from a lot of enemies. So we'll never complain about that.
Yeah, and especially in co-op too, because your partner's not typically telling you where all these heart pieces and heart containers are. They're kind of the first things you forget as you're trying to concentrate on your primary items.
Okay, we're seeing Nobly head over to Pod to get those mitts. I wonder what we're gonna see Hayfield do here because maybe Catfish?
Well, yeah, Noble Foxes did not check Catfish after getting Dark World access. Nobly, I believe, went straight over to the village, and Hayfield went straight over to Pod.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice because you do have a lot more checks open to you in a lot of other areas with those mitts, especially Dark Death Mountain. You have Hookshot for Hookshot Cave. You can see what the medallion for Turtle Rock is. I don't know how I feel about going up to Catfish when you have those options available to you, but I'm very confused as to what Hayfield is doing here.
Unless
You have the flute in the midst to get to Dark Village, so I'm not quite sure. Again, I think that maybe this is another example. Nobly earlier, I believe, or one of the runners, whether it was Nobly or Houston, I think it was Nobly, forgot about the flute on the way to Desert. So Hayfield also forgetting about the flute and the mids. Again, you're in co-op, you're talking with your teammate, there's a lot of communication going on. It's really easy to forget the items you have because you're focused on that communication and focused on what your teammate did. So your teammate is saying, oh, I had to walk all the way around and there's all these enemies on the walk to Skull Woods. You may forget that you have flute, so you don't have to do that walk just because of the communication that you guys are currently having to try to, get to that Skull Woods area.
Yep, and we find Quake and Hookshot Cave. It's about the only worth we've seen up on the mountain so far.
Yeah, that could be big if Quake is used to open the Mire area. I think that would be the next place to go. We're going to see Houston Baba do the same thing of turning in that green pendant and then probably running back to get their mitts.
Ray picked up that shovel and is beelining it over there. This seed is being very linear so far, opening up just a little bit at a time.
Ooh, and we find a bow. Though not necessary for anything but Pod, that is another weapon that is useful for certain enemies. So you don't need it, but it's a nice luxury to have.
It's another weapon and gets us that much closer to a pedestal seed as well.
Ooh. The runners probably don't want to hear that. Chat loves to hear that. Chat loves to hear the pedestal being brought up. So we will have to see if that becomes a thing here shortly. We would still need the mirror and the hammer for that to be a thing.
Yep.
Our runners can also do Ice Palace here. They have flippers. Oh no, they can't. They don't have a fire source, of course. With a mirror, they could do Ice Palace. I keep forgetting that we haven't gotten that fire rod. It's just sitting on Spec Rock.
Yep, just sitting up there. So unless we find Bombos, we're gonna look at Mire Shed.
Out Mire Shed for nothing.
And then I did not see if he checked the Mire requirement. Looks like he did, and it looks like it is Quake since he's walking up to it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good find. Going to, you would typically want to do this before the mountain because you want to limit your mountain trips, but that is a required trip up the mountain to grab Quake to open this dungeon. So only 2 things in Mire, but we don't have a lot of options.
Now did Ray's going in here without the red cane? Unless it was missed on tracking. I don't get that logic. His partner knows where Red Cane is.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision. You have Lamp, you have everything else. I mean,
yeah, we have the knowledge of Red Cane.
Mire isn't that long of a dungeon to walk back to. We even have a nice Wizrobes 2 room. Sometimes that room can be an absolute nightmare. So it's not really the end of the world, but you are going to have to leave and then come back if Ray does not have the cane.
Yeah, and with the cane and C-shaped house, and we have the flute and mitts, it's not a long grab to go get it.
And it does look like Chad is saying that Ray does have the cane, so that does make
okay.
That does make sense. If he does not have it, then that is probably just forgetting to grab it. as we do have a Godmire, so the big key being right there on the bridge. You know, if you had boots, maybe you try to hover it. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we do have the big key. Two things in Mire. I'm trying to think. We don't have a lot of other places we can even check for items.
Yeah, no, it's very very slim pickings as we see HayfieldBay doing this, starting the Smith chain.
Yeah, with flute, that's not a terrible you know, time commitment. Ooh, and paid, you know, half magic I think is a worthwhile find. In Enemizer with that blue cane, it gives you the safety there, and we're
I
gonna see
like
purple
half
try.
magic in any seed.
Yeah, half magic is I think Smith is worth it for the half magic. We'll have to see if Nobly chooses to do Smith just for that half magic, but if you find the mirror later, Smith isn't that big of a time commitment, and that safety from half magic is nice to have. As we're seeing Ray go through the back of Misery Mire here.
Yeah,
and
so he
Nobly
found
is
that
working on Hookshot Cave.
he found that big key and he's going straight to the boss.
And fortunately, no Fire Rod, so can't even you know, hope for Spooky this seed. So just gonna do it the intended way. Work through Mire here, and you know, this is good knowledge to have. The bosses that we still can't beat would be Cold Stare and Trinex, which are both possible to be here. So we'll have to see if that's an issue. But otherwise, Ray is going to end up beating this dungeon and get their third crystal. Ooh, and a nice excuse to use that bow you found.
And being in this room, you can't do your typical quick kill setting up at the top there with that green slime. Although someone taught me a way to get that quick kill in the bottom left corner, which would have been very helpful.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the bottom left kill setup. Usually I that's my preferred to. So luckily in that room, I don't have problems when I do that. But we do see that it's just a key on the boss, which means still 2 items in Mire. So we're gonna see Ray jump back in and look for those 2 items, as Nobly is going to follow suit into the Mire area. And it does look like Hayfield is going to go check that catfish for noble foxes.
Yeah, it's an out of the way play, but you don't want to have that being the one item you missed.
Interesting. Yeah, I was wondering what Houston was doing, because you can't really do much more in this dungeon. As we're probably going to see Houston go grab that Quake with the mitts that they got out of pod. All the runners on pretty similar equipment here. We're going to have either, you know, Tempered or Master Sword, probably. I believe that Houston is now on Master Sword, because probably would have grabbed that out of pod. So it does look very much like our teams are kind of lined up with the items that they have. And maybe going to get a pet check here from Hayfield?
Yeah, looks like it. I think this is... Yeah, it looks like that last item is in that cutscene chest in Mire.
Yeah. As we have boots on the pedestal.
That is a lot of commitment to go fast, but
you know, there's a couple of things that the boots could be locking. You could have something in Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb, you could also have the GT Big Key on Bob's Torch. So Pet is not dead yet. Unlikely that the runners will race it unless they find a mirror really soon, because if they find Hammer, that's a lot of different options for them to go and open up. And even with Mirror, that gets you your Fire Rods. You could do Skull Woods and Ice Palace. So I don't think we're going to see a Ped rush anytime soon, but it is a possibility.
And with Swamp being a pendant, then we know that the Mirror and the Hammer are not going to be boots locked.
Correct.
I think, I'm trying to speculate, I think Bombos could be boots locked. Bombos, oh, there's the Hammer right there in Mire.
Oh my, so that Hammer does unlock a couple of things. A thing or two.
Yep.
That gets us access to the Tower of Hera. That gets us some extra checks in the overworld, like hammer pegs.
And Nobly's gonna find that hammer there and let his teammate know, hey, that's where the progression is.
Interesting to not see Ray. Oh. So our red crystals must have been Eastern and Desert, not Tower of Hera, because
Or
we
Mire.
do have access to that big bomb. Or Mire, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was Mire.
In chat talking about where the mirror could be. We do know that half magic is already on Smiths. We are pretty limited in our options of what we can do.
And someone
I think Hera makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, someone did do purple chest, and I don't remember what it was, but I don't think it was anything.
Yeah, we're gonna see Pyramid Fairy here. You could go to Hera, but without a fire source, you can't really do anything in... Never mind, that's Bombos. You can do Ice Palace now.
Yeah.
You can also do Turtle Rock.
Is correct. We could have a mirror on Laser Bridge just to go back out to grab that fire rod.
Well, and Turtle Rock, because it's a boss shuffle, you don't necessarily need the fire rod or the ice rod to full clear it, depending on the key layout. It's incredibly rare for that to be the case, but you could have a layout where the fire rod, I believe you could have a layout where the fire rod is on the boss of Turtle Rock, if I'm not mistaken, though it's incredibly unlikely.
Oh, you're absolutely correct.
All right, we're seeing Ray dive into Ice Palace now, as we're going to see Nobly go and take on that Armos in the back of Mire. Did also check that shovel to get the bow, so we'll make quick work of that. Ice Palace, another one of those dungeons where it can be a little scary. There's some rooms that are really scary to go into. The typical icebreaker room is very scary because it's all on ice and there's like 7 enemies in there. I think 7 or 8 or a lot. So this Pengata room has 6 enemies. There's some scary rooms on ice in Ice Palace, so we'll have to see what's in store for us. At least now, as this room's very nice, at least now runners on Red Nail have a little bit more hearts. A little bit safer than earlier, as we just find $1 in the Pengata room.
Yeah, red mail and a tempered sword. Shouldn't be too bad, but yeah, the ice physics certainly don't make these rooms any easier.
Yeah, so as Nobly grabs that Misery Mire red crystal as well, probably going to follow suit and check that Pyramid Fairy check. Either that or run up to Tower of Hera. And it does look like we're going to get that Hera play, unless he flutes.
Oh, he's got his flute out, so we'll see.
All right, it does look like we're probably going to see that Pyramid Fairy play from Nobly then, or... Question mark?
He's
Oh, Nobly hasn't grabbed the tempered sword from Desert yet.
correct. He hasn't been desert either, so he can do that as well.
Upon review and thought, that makes a lot of sense. Doing that, and yeah, we bring up in chat still. A lot of the runners doing okay. HayfieldBay still on 4 hearts. Which is not a fun place to be going into Mire.
No, not at all. Yeah, and like I said, with co-op, you know, you tend to forget to mention to your teammate where all these hearts are you find. So.
And here's another scary room on ice for Ray. Not terrible. That Beamos is a little mean, but now you just have to find your way through that door, and welcome to another room with a million enemies. Ice Palace just has a lot of these. You know, I know Ray has powder. I'm not quite sure where that powder was from, but that also opens up Magic Bat as a check for missing 2 bows if Noble Foxes doesn't have that powder.
I don't recall where powder was.
Floyd, you're being called out a little bit in the chat, saying that you like to hide hearts from people in co-op. Is that an active choice you make? Do you make sure to hide hearts from your teammates?
Not from my teammates, it's when I play with non-teammates.
As we continue to go through Ice Palace here, yeah, still haven't found a mirror. I think the mirror kicks the door wide open. The mirror unlocks everything as seed, so I would expect that that's what we're going to see here soon, whether it be in Ice Palace or in Tower of Hera. I can't imagine that the game can take us down too many more tangents. The worst case would be mirror in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and it's almost looking that way. We do have Hera still open, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of one item at a time, and then things are turning up pretty empty.
Yeah, for those of you wondering what Ray was doing there, that last room in Ice Palace likes to give us wall masters, and so Ray was waiting to see if a wall master would drop down, because the last thing you want is to be grabbed in that last room, as we do see that the boss here is Cold Stare, so doesn't get the spin off, so Ray gonna have to be careful. Even on red mail, these puffs hurt.
Yeah, vanilla Cold Stare down here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, no problem with that tempered sword. Now, I'll tell you one thing I do like to do in co-op. I like to make sure that my teammates get all the shields.
You know, the shields, that's definitely something that people are appreciative of, so I'm glad to hear that.
Alright,
so
ice down.
Yeah, as we start to kind of look at the crystals here, Noble Foxes between them have 5 crystals, and Missing 2 Bows has 5 as well. Houston still has not done Eastern or Desert, so Houston is going to have to play a little bit of catch up with those one-off locations. I would not be surprised to see Houston here start to play catch up on those dungeons while Ray goes and finds, whatever they need to go and find.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactic. I can see the method of letting one player kind of dungeon crawl and the other one doing all these overworld checks.
And just as I say that, Houston's going to Tower of Hera.
Well, it's a smart play because no one has been in Tower of Hera yet. No one has been in Turtle Rock yet either, so he could go into both of these.
We see that Magic Bat is nothing, so yeah, I think we're gonna see Nobly head over to the Tower of Hera area. We did not see Nobly do the Big Bomb, so no Bombos yet for Noble Foxes. Instead, opting to go right to Tower of Hera. And honestly, if their mirror is in Hera, you don't need that Bombos for anything but Turtle Rock. So, as long as they check it along the way, not necessarily the worst play.
Yeah, I'm curious what Ray's doing here.
I think Ray's gonna do Hammer Pegs.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep.
Ooh, and Silvers.
Oh, that's nice. And Houston, without that book, can't go check those silvers for his teammates.
Yeah, that's another interesting call. We were just talking about Houston not playing catch-up a little bit. You know where that book is in Eastern. You have to do Eastern anyway. Interesting call to not do that before coming up to the mountain. The nice thing is that Ray has the book, and Ray is probably going to check that, and you can get silvers right before GT without it really punishing you. So, not the end of the world, but just a bit of an interesting choice to not play a little bit of catch-up on Houston's side.
Oh, he's gonna go for the Harapot glitch. Looks like the lineup's right. Maybe not.
I don't know if Nobly grabbed an enemy or if one of the enemies in the room causes issues with that. You do sometimes run into, with the Enemizer, enemies making it so that certain bomb jumps and clips like that we're used to seeing can't happen. I personally, an Enemizer, don't even try to Harapot. It saves you time, but I never know what's going to work and what's not going to work, so I just try to play the game as vanilla as possible.
Yeah, any flying enemy in that room, and I don't even think about it either. You see Helmasaur up here. This is one of my favorite places to see Helmasaur. I think it's a fun spot to fight him, especially if you have to do the bomb strategy.
Hey, Houston needs to be careful here. He is down to 2 hearts. Yeah, getting those hits on Helmasaur is not easy when he's right over that pit. It's hard to hit the helmet. A lot of people will throw 4 bombs to try to break the helmet that way. As Houston so far doing a pretty good job, up down to 1.5 hearts. Can take a couple more hits, so not the end of the world yet. Does have arrows as well to shoot the Helmasaur, which does help a lot in this room.
And that you can see that red mail just being useful right there, able to take a couple more hits than normal.
It's still fine because Houston does have that fairy in a bottle from Hyatt Cave, so not at any risk here of completely dying. Oh no, as Houston does run out of arrows though. Gets the last spin off, and that is the end of Helmasaur.
As answering chat, I believe that the boss in pod does hold an item.
We missed what that item was, but we'll see it here on Nobly's side when Nobly finishes with Helma.
Yeah, and as chat points out, Hammer can potentially be on Helmasaur. He's beatable with bombs and a sword and bow.
Looks like was not what we were looking for on the boss here of Hera, so going to the basement on Houston Baba's side, so probably just a dungeon item.
It looks like it's that small key, potentially.
And Nobly having the benefit of having that Tempered Sword, 2 spins kills Helmasaur with the Tempered Sword, so gonna be picking up that small key. We'll see if Nobly chooses to follow to the basement. As we see the bug net picked up by Ray on purple chest.
Yeah, and Hayfield's going over here to check on Turtle Rock. You'll see that he's missing bombos.
Oh
While
no,
Ray,
he has it.
oh, I guess he does.
So Hayfield does have that knowledge, so they know that Bombos is on Pyramid Ferry. So Nobly is gonna go and beat. Although I think Nobly beat Desert already, and I believe the red crystals were Desert Palace and Eastern Palace. So Nobly at any point can go and do that big bomb and get that Bombos now that they know it's there. There's not much left to do. You kind of have to do this Turtle Rock check. It's a bummer without Fire Rod. The nice thing is if you find Mirror here in the front, you can go Mirror and grab that Fire Rod, and more likely than not, at that point, actually completely likely, you're going to be able to beat Turtle Rock because you have Ice Rod already. So once you find that Fire Rod, I don't think there's a boss left in the game that we can't beat.
I think you're correct. I imagine Haywood has the bow as well. Quick swap, it's kind of harder to see people's inventory.
Yeah, if he has the shovel, I would be surprised if he didn't grab that bow.
Now with Enemizer, this room here goes from my least favorite to one of my favorite rooms.
Yeah, it's so friendly without the chain chomps there, isn't it? Alright, well, we're not seeing the mirror in the basement of Hera. We are going to see Spike Cave from Nobly and from Ray. I like this call. You're right here. You might as well get it out of the way.
So little hearts, though, you got to be very careful and get that safety going. Half magic certainly helps.
Yeah, Nobly does have that fairy as well.
And the mirror.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at that.
Well, we are probably going to see Hayfield take a death here as soon as they find out that that mirror is there. Don't leave. Oh, Hayfield. Well, they were in the Dark World anyway. They couldn't have done it. They had to go back around. So we're going to see Hayfield do that. We're going to see... Interesting that
Yeah.
Nobly chose not to grab the... Well, I bet you Nobly's going to go right back up and grab that Fire Rod now. Yeah.
Yeah, both teammates in sync. One going for the Fire Rod, one's going to go grab that mirror. Yeah, why did Hayfield save and quit and not try to do a death port back to the TR entrance?
Yeah, because being in Dark World, you can get over there.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly, with only 5 hearts, that certainly's got to be faster than doing the save and quit.
As Chad is now mentioning, good news, the boots are in Logic now.
Certainly are.
In terms of items, we still need to beat the game, though. Unless
we are
GT
potentially in go mode.
Yeah, unless the GT Big Key is on Bob's torch, those boots are not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, with the mirror that gets us Fire Rod so we can get to the Skullwoods boss. And everything else is open. So we are
grabbing that, or Hayfield grabbing that mirror. Houston playing catch up now knows he has to go get that that Bombos medallion to get into Turtle Rock, as Hayfield is going to do another walk across the mountain, probably to Turtle Rock this time.
Yeah, he's got Turtle Rock, Tower of Hera.
I don't know how much I agree with this, because if you're in go mode, you don't need to do this climb again.
Yeah.
You should be doing... You've got Skullwoods.
Oh, well, oh, no, he has the Fire Rod, so what is he doing?
Yeah, at this point, I would think you...
Oh,
no, he doesn't have the Fire Rod yet. Okay,
he's
that
about
makes
to
more
grab
sense.
it. So, yeah, I think he would be doing what we think, where he's going to go to Skullwoods, go to Ice Palace, and then do the TR Hera last.
Yeah, so at this point, I think we're pretty much in go mode unless those boots are required, and even then, we know how to get them. So we're gonna see some dungeon rushing going on here. We're gonna see Skull Woods. We're gonna see Ice Palace. We're gonna see Turtle Rock and Hera from Noble Fox's side. And if you are on Missing Two Bows side, same thing. Houston Baba does have to play catch up. Has to get, this moth out of the way now. Um, Missing Two Bows does know where the silvers are, so Houston will probably get those before diving GT. And yeah, at this point, we're just gonna see some dungeon rushes.
Yeah, Houston does have a lot of catch up to do.
The game that we're gonna get to play is everybody's favorite dungeon to have the boss randomized. What boss is going to be in Skull Woods today?
Yeah, thankfully, because of the room size, there's some bosses we don't get to see.
Well, and we know it can't be Moth, because we've seen 2 Moths already.
And we know it can't be TR.
It's Argus. I don't like Argus in this room. Personally.
Yeah, this room is tough with Argus. With that floor moving, it's hard to prevent getting moved into those puffs when you grab them.
Yeah, and it's very easy for the floor to move the wrong way. And if you miss a puff, like we just saw Nobly do, you can actually hook shot onto those blocks, which just basically shoves you right into Argus's hitbox. So not necessarily a fun time either. As we do see Nobly, 1 puff left, does get him, is going to use silver arrows to try to kill Argus in 1 shot here.
Yeah, Tempered Sword also is nice. Those little puffs take 1 hit. It's a little easier than trying to do fighter sword strats on Argus in this room.
Yeah, kind of at the same time, Nobly and Ray taking out Argus. Yeah, personally, my favorite boss for that room is Armos, because every time one of the Armoses glitches itself off screen, it breaks the floor, and so the floor doesn't move until he glitches himself again. But good job by both the runners on beating Argus in that room. It's not a fun fight. Hayfield has to be careful. On 3 hearts, still Hayfield very low in the health department. I don't know how many hearts we're going to see Hayfield on by the time GT comes. Hayfield might have to stop and grab some potions.
Yeah, and Ray's heading up the mountain. All he has left is a TR and Tower of Hera. So, looking like Ray may be our first dip into GT here soon.
Yeah, which means that we've got a game coming up that we like to play. Not quite yet, but soon. A game that we haven't been able to play for a couple weeks because of Pilot and because of AD, like All Dungeons Key Sanity. We haven't been able to play our fun little GT Big Key Guessing game for a couple weeks, but it's back. It's back for week 7.
Yeah, the nice thing for Houston playing catch-up here is hopefully his teammate has told him where everything is and which boss he's going up against. And he will be super go-moding these and knowing exactly who he's facing. Ray taking their first dip into TR. Got to find the big keys, got to find some small keys.
Yep, as Hayfield and Nobly are kind of on each other's tails here. They're both going to be making quick work of Ice Palace here. Going to do that Icebreaker glitch, and it's kind of a matter of, I do think Ray has a significant lead to start this off, but Houston is fallen pretty far behind. And remember that the teams here, the score, the time that we use is the average of the 2 runners. It's not the first person to finish. So even though Ray does have a lead, that time behind where Houston has not spent playing catch-up could come back to be, a bit of a concern as we approach the end here.
Well, it's a little bit of a lead. Yeah, Houston has 3 crystals left. Nobly has 3 crystals left. Nope, 2 crystals left. So It's about a dungeon behind. Hayfield has 3 crystals left, so their crystal count, I think, at this current time is even between the teams.
Yeah, but Noble Foxes both have to do Tower of Hera, which is a really, really quick, short dungeon compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Right now, it does seem like Ray does definitely have a significant lead over the other runners, so definitely going to help out missing 2 bows in that regard.
Field pulling off the icebreaker glitch pretty easily.
Yep, as we're going to see Nobly. Now, have to be somewhat careful here. Remember, this is a cold stairs, so it does grab both those magics. Is going to be able to use bombos to break the cold stair block here. But
does he have bombos? He does. Okay.
Oh, he might not. Oh, but he does have a blue potion. Okay, good.
I thought I saw it on his. Oh no, he does not. You're right. So yeah, good thing he's got the potion there.
Nobly getting a little excited with those fire rod spams. Misses 2 or 3 of them, but is going to be able to take down cold stair. Gonna go up and grab that Bombos medallion next and head up the mountain. And Nobly has beaten Tower of Hera, so Nobly just has to beat TR to get in. Ray has to finish TR, beat Hera. Yeah, we got a race on our hands. This is gonna get, be hard to tell who's really in the lead until we get up that GT climb.
Yep. Ray finding Butter's sword in Crystal Roller Room, just gonna make the game a little easier.
As Hayfield with that half magic also spams Fire Rod and misses a couple, but because of half magic has a little bit more leeway there.
Looks like we will be visiting Laser Bridge looking for a key. Nobly and Houston going to pick up the big bomb. Interesting, Houston just beat Ice, didn't he? No, he just beat Skull. So interesting, he's grabbing this.
I think gonna be grabbing that fairy.
The fairy in the bottle, yeah.
And Ice Rod.
Oh, that's true. We could potentially have a Trinex NGT. As a smart heads-up play, be prepared.
Ooh, yep. Doesn't grab that fairy in a bottle though. I mean, it's right there. I would grab the fairy.
Or maybe he doesn't know about it.
Yeah, so we still have a 1 in 22 chance of GT Big Key being on Torch and being a required completion of Swamp Palace here for our runners to need to do, as we see Landmos in the boss room of Turtle Rock.
So Ray should be heading over to Tower of Hera, make some quick work.
Yeah, has Ray
up
beaten
there.
Tower of Hera yet? Because Ray does have silvers.
Good question.
I don't know if it's going to be the world's fastest GT Big Key guessing game if we walk by GT and the crystals start opening. So everybody get ready, because we might have the fastest GT Big Key guessing game that I've ever seen. Oof, dead rock.
And hit start. Let's see what crystals you get. He's mirroring, so he's going into Tower of Hera.
All right, all right. Ooh, and Hayfield does finally pick up some extra hearts. Now on 7.
Oh, he should be fine then. Ray's gonna try for this tower pair glitch here. See if he can get it. Pulls it off.
Yeah, and as we approach the end of this, since it's coming up, there's a little game we like to play. I'll pre-introduce it now because we're not going to have a lot of time to play it afterwards. As soon as Ray beats the 7th crystal and is on his way to Ganon's tower, we will pick a number between 1 and 22 for where you think the GT Big Key is in Ganon's tower. If you guess right, you get internet bragging points.
Those are very important.
Very, very important. So as we see, Ray does get a couple of bombs off. The first runner we've seen use the bombs for Helmasaur here, and does have Butter Sword, opting not to use the silver arrows. There we go. Now it's going to be a quick swap over, and Helma's
There
dead.
we go. So we're going to start this game up now. Maybe. Maybe not. I can't do the game. Oh, there it goes. I hit the wrong key.
The bot has not started yet, so one moment.
It has. I saw it start. Oh,
there it goes. All right, go ahead and get your GT Big Key guesses in. You have about 22 seconds. 22 seconds for 22 checks. As we're going to see Ray go up and enter GT here. That will be the end of the GT Big Key guessing game. Good luck to everyone. Yeah.
Alright, guesses have now closed.
Is it number 1? It is not. Boots are not needed for this seed.
Alright, so we are officially in go mode. Alright, for all you disappointed fans who wanted to see a little bit more of the game, just number 2 is $5, 3 is a small key, 4 is one of those shields.
Ray's first shield of the game. In fact, I don't think any of our runners have a shield.
That is correct.
All right,
5
so we're
was
now kind
another
of looking.
$5.
Yeah, we're now kind of looking at where this is. This will be checks number 6 and 7, I believe.
6 and 7, yep. Another shield.
As Ray is going to make their way over to Compass Room, you can see both of Noble Foxes in TR while Houston Baba is still finishing up Ice Palace. So it is going to be a close race. We're going to see Noble Foxes probably split up how they're going to do the GT kind of hunt for the big key, but it's going to be close because, Hayfield on land mode now, Nobly making his way to the back. It's a close one.
Yeah,
Hayfield. Ready to see Ray check chest number 8.
Yeah, Hayfield still needs to do tower pair as well. 8 is the mushroom, 9 the compass, 10 a piece of heart, and 11 is the medallion we're missing. Or ether. That was ether.
Yeah. All right, we're going to see Ray go back to the left side now, looking for that big key.
Hayfield has finished up TR, so he's going to be heading over to finish up hair and then getting into GT as well. Houston is making his way over to the TR as his last crystal.
So to answer in chat, the scoring is done by average time. So we won't know the winner of this race until all 4 runners have completed and have told us kind of what the average is between the 2.
Oh, that was a cruel room with that BMOS, but just a small key in that chest.
What was that, number 12?
Yeah, that was 12. Fire Snake Room here will be 13.
And the mirror shield.
All right, all 4
shields in GT. Oh, 14. I was so close. Congratulations to Windfox for guessing 14 and scoring 22 points. Also, Ragemaw and Medenmath also guessed correctly, and they both get 5 points. Congratulations.
Take those points and brag to all your friends. All right, we see Rain making the climb here. Animizer makes the climb sometimes easier, sometimes more difficult. I find most of the time it makes it easier.
Yeah, sometimes if the rooms are a little bit annoying with those enemies that burrow, or things under a pot that you have to go stand next to get them to activate. But so far, a pretty nice climb.
But there's usually no BMOSes. BMOSes?
I think BMI would work.
Why not?
As we're seeing Hayfield finally getting that helmet to break off Helmasaur there. Took a couple of tries. Ooh, and misses that silver arrow. Still, there we go. Finally gets that that helmet down, as Nobly is doing the same thing, doing that DM strat. Probably will benefit them because they'll probably both end up going left to Rando Room. Nobly might go full right to check Ice Armos area, but that's a check you really don't want to go to in GT with Boss Shuffle. As we see a Moldorm in the Landmo 2 area.
Easy boss. Only 1 to kill instead of the normal 3. Now Nobly will get all of his shields, which is very important. I'd like to see that.
Oh, Nobly's going to be cutting it close here. Without boots, this room is very tight.
Yes,
get through though.
Especially with a lot of enemies. I said the gauntlet can sometimes be nicer, but with Enemizer, we miss out on our favorite rooms. Our most satisfying rooms of the game. Oh, you gotta like a roller, just right there. So Nobly finishes up his right side just as his partner enters GT, so they both know, hey, we got to go full left here.
Yep, so gonna work out well for them. They're both gonna end up getting that big key in Rando Room. As Hayfield says, I've checked a lot already. You get to check that Nightmare Room.
We get a Vitreous up here. Not too bad with the gold sword. And silvers to finish off the big eye.
Yeah, not the worst boss to see up here. There's definitely Helmasaur isn't very fun up here. That's probably the most annoying one. Vidi's a little annoying, but you can hang off to the right as we see the bumper just punch a mini Moldorm into the spikes and kill it for us. That was entertaining.
Reagan, our first access into Aga 2. Just one boss away.
So Hayfield does find that big key as well. Nobly right behind him. They're both going to start the climb.
Luckily, Hayfield does have one small key. Hasn't made that mistake we saw a lot of players making in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, knowing where the big key is, I would think that missing 2 bows here for an average is going to have a bit of an advantage. If you look at, Ray is finishing up the climbing on Aga 2. Houston just has to go grab that big key and go. It's gonna be close, but I do think that missing 2 bows does have a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, with both players making the climb, it's gonna be close, and Houston's gonna need some really good execution to make this close. That Ray is dropping into big pig room.
Now, this is kind of what we expected to see as Ray starts off. It's going to be a pretty straightforward fight. You have that butter sword, so 1-1 should be pretty much guaranteed, along with half magic and a cape. These 2 teams, they're both fighting for those playoff spots. It was going to come down to the wire. It's going to have to be decided by when Houston finishes, and solely based off that, because it's going to be Ray, then both of Noble Foxes, and it'll all come down to where Houston finishes.
And Houston enters GT and did pick up the silver arrows. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's worth the time commitment there to pick up those silvers. You spend like 20-30 seconds going over there, and you get to use silvers on Ganon. I think that time is definitely well spent.
Yep, and speaking of Ganon, he goes down for Ray, so get your GGs in chat there. Ray's going to finish in first place out of the 4 of them with a time of 1:32:11.
Yeah, so with an official time of 1:32:11, the clock has started ticking. Every second now that Ray has finished and Noble Foxes haven't is benefiting the average time of missing 2 bows. So, Noble Foxes wants to get up there, finish up the seed as quickly as possible, because they're up against the clock. It started. It's starting to sweat a little bit, starting to get a little nervous, as Nobly does seem to have made up some time on Hayfield up the climb. So these 2 runners are going to be finishing pretty close to one another.
Yep, just a couple rooms apart, and Houston is beelining it for that big key. Right now he knows his teammates finished. He knows the other 2 have not, and he's just hoping that he can get up there fast.
Yeah, got that big key, so going to start that climb at 1:33. So typically the climb and beating the game takes about 7 to 9 minutes normally. With Enemizer, it's a little bit different, obviously. So you're looking at a super close race here, is what you're looking at.
Does only have 2.5 hearts, and this next room is not an easy one.
Yeah, at this point you would need
a lot of enemies, a lot of fire bars, a lot of spikes.
Oh, on half a heart.
Goes
does
for
have
that
blue
potion.
Potion to use. Does have half magic. Immediately takes another spike to the face. Is getting bullied. Oh man, if you are Noble Foxes here, a death for Houston would be exactly what you need to try to pull this one out. I don't know. I don't know if there's another way. I think that Houston will have the damage. Ooh, and those fire bars, when they are out, they don't seem to follow the laws of physics. They'll just hit you wherever you are.
Yeah, they don't care what level they get put on.
As Nobly is using arrows to fight Biddy, didn't have the silver arrows, or sorry, didn't have the cape strats to kind of dash through them. Maybe concerned about their magic Both runners on 3 hearts for Noble Foxes, as Houston Baba also on 2.5 hearts. Oh boy, it's nerve-wracking.
This is a good race. Make sure to give those runners a follow. They're putting on such a great show.
As Noble Foxes are both on the Aga fight now. Yeah, looking like a finish. Finish coming up short here. Houston on 2 hearts. Does have to be careful. Looking for that heart under that skull. Gets 2 more. On to 4 hearts.
Nobly's on half a heart.
Oh my gosh.
And a death here in Aga is major.
He has a ferry.
I think he's got the ferry though.
Yeah. He has the ferry. Yeah, he has the ferry from all the way from Hype Cave, which remember Houston did not grab. Houston did not grab that ferry from Hype Cave when he got Ice Rock. If that comes down to it, that could be a deciding decision in this race of Houston not grabbing that ferry from Hype Cave.
Yeah, and with the way Inamizer can be, so that's a tough decision that might come back to bite him.
Well, and it's easy to forget, right? It's easy to forget that there was just, it was a bottle in Hype Cave, don't worry about it. But the fact that it was a ferry, as we see Hayfield on a 1.5 heart fighting Ganon, oh boy.
Yeah, but I think Hayfield's got that ferry as well still, doesn't he?
I do believe he does, yes.
So not too bad. Made its phase 3. Should be pretty clean fight from here.
Yeah, Houston does not have the easiest task in the world of fighting Viddy. Does have those silvers. Does have half magic. Has Butter Sword, has cape, so should be fine.
Alright, Hayfield just a couple hits from finishing the game up. Houston is right behind him. This is going to be pretty close, I think. HayfieldBay finishing. He's got a time. When that door opens, we'll know. There it goes. 1:37:42. So about 5, almost 5.5 minutes after Ray.
Oh, Houston. Houston's on 1 heart.
Well, he's got the silver, so.
Okay.
But this next room's gonna be pretty important.
You have half magic and a cape. Use it for the Aga 2 fight. You have 1 heart. Use it in this room.
Get hit by the bumpers.
Oh, every single one of these spikes. That spike too. Every single one of these spikes will kill you. Just use your cape. Just use your cape.
Oh, we got him. As Nobly Fox finishes his Ganon fight.
Oh no. And no ferry.
No ferry. He's got to do that whole climb again.
Oh my gosh. And no more blue potion.
And Nobly finishes with 1:38:42. A minute between him and his partner.
That gives us an average for Noble Foxes of 1:38:12. Oh boy.
Don't know.
Let me do quick math here. So it looks like the break point is right around that 1:44:15 mark. Oh no.
Houston taking another death. Those rollers hiding under the floor, or the fire bars under the floor there.
Oh my.
Sorry, what'd you say was the break point?
1:44:15. So I think at this point it looks like Noble Foxes have that lead. I don't believe that Houston is going to be able to finish this whole gauntlet and beat Ganon in 5 minutes.
5. That'll be tough. Yeah. And it looked like he had a mirror mishap there.
Down to 1 heart again. Just not using the cape.
Yeah, sometimes you're in a race, you're excited. Sometimes you just don't think about those things.
All right, well. Oh, that's a rough way to end that one. I mean, we're gonna see Houston continue to do this climb, but I do believe that is going to give Game 1 a very, very important Game 1 of this 2-game series to Noble Foxes. Unless something crazy happens here, we've got about 3 minutes left, if I'm doing my math right.
Yeah,
Until
and with this potential win, I mean anything can happen, but with this win, it still leaves their whole division kind of open on who's number 1, number 2. And it looks like we're going to be joined by the Noble Foxes here for an interview. See if we can get them in. And there are HayfieldBay and Nobly the Foreign. GG's, guys.
GG's.
That was a very fun race to watch, especially at the end there with both you guys kind of syncing up with each other.
Yeah. Our plan is to try to stay so we enter GT close together. Like both do similar things and just while the one search, the other clean up his crystals and stuff.
It certainly worked for you this time. Got to ask about that early game. How'd that feel having to go to Aga to get into Dark World? Looked like one of you beelined for it, and the other one said, "Well, let's go look at Desert and see maybe if we can avoid it."
We basically ended up in Eastern at the same time, so our decision was, okay, I'll just go and pick up the sword and go Aga. And then I just kept bugging Hayfield, like, okay, how far away from the boss are you? How far away from the boss are you? Because we knew the boss had one item. And when he picked up the book, he got to the boss and he's like, oh, we can beat this boss, it's Moth. So I basically, okay, I'll do the boss because then I can get a magic refill. So I don't have to go farm magic under the pots near Uncle. And he's like, I'll probably be checking the items in Desert.
Yeah, I felt like I'm doing Desert, and when the boss had an item, decided just go, just do Aga Tower. Felt like the best decision there. Like nobly did it first.
Yeah, basically I said, okay, you found one item and one item is on the boss. Okay, I'll just go for Aga, and if you find Hammer, I just go out and flute down there. It's either... But it took him so long to even get to the boss, so I was like, okay, even if it's the Dark World, I'll just do it, because 5-6 is an option if you just find a mirror, the Hammer can be on Pyramid anyway.
Yeah, pretty straightforward seed. You guys opted to dive into Turtle Rock without that mirror, and it ended up being in Spike Cave, which was not the nicest of things, but at least that mirror go mode limited what you guys had to do for kind of your dungeon rush at the end. Were you concerned at all about the Bob's Torch going into GT?
Yeah. It was... I mean, it
Just,
felt like, okay, if it's Bolt Torch, then you just have to go pick up your... Because a funny thing when you do Aga, the enemies in the overworld changes because there was a killer bird on the water near Fake Flippering. And we knew that. So Hayfield didn't pick up his flippers. But when I fluted to ice, we saw the enemy was changed, so Fake Flippering was then available.
Yeah, that was nice. Didn't need to pick up the flippers.
Yeah, that knowledge certainly helped you guys knowing those enemies changed, and yeah, we mentioned that fake flippering is just a big pain sometimes in Enemizer.
Yeah, and we knew about the boots on pad, so if we were not getting any progression yet, we just had to clean up the pendants.
Yeah, the funny thing was that we had a little bit miscommunication there with the going to Turtle Rock thing. Because I forgot about the fire rod. No, I was like, okay, you found bombos. Okay, go Turtle Rock, and I was like, no, go ice. Yeah, it's ice, or we have to go back to those pendants for mirror. And then he was like, I'm in Turtle Rock now. I was like, okay.
And
he's like,
key. The second one is a key. I'm going further in. But when I got a third small key, yeah. Then you told that was exactly the same time you told me mirror is by K. I think so.
Yeah, so it actually paid off quite interesting in the end there. Like, he was on mountain, so he basically just had to go out from TR.
Yeah, we did see you pause there at Lava Chest while he was checking Spike Cave.
Also have a question. Hayfield, at any point during the seed, did you start to ask Nobly where he was hiding all the hearts from you?
Yeah, I said at one point when I was entering Meyer, I have 4 hearts. Do you have some hearts to me? Yeah, there's in the lobby in Meyer, and that was the only thing I got from him.
Because I think at one point you were doing Misery Mire with four hearts, yeah, and we were making note of it, of just, even on Red Mail, that's not a comfortable place to be in any seed, let alone Enemizer.
No, it wasn't, but the red mail and the fair in a bottle really felt good to have. So I didn't take it away and buy a blue potion, because it feels better to have a fairy when you're low on hearts.
Yeah, that fairy in a bottle actually ended up being the deciding factor in this game, it turned out. As Houston went back to get their ice rod in Hype Cave, they did not go and grab that fairy in Hype Cave as well, and did end up dying in GT. So that was that fairy kind of decided the game for this one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you have red mail, you have half magic, you get torture, I have hearts. So that's mine. I wanted half magic as well, but I didn't want to go fetch it on Smith.
Well, I mean, overall, big GGs to you guys. That does put you up at 30 points, tied with missing 2 bows, I believe, for potential playoff seeding. How are you guys feeling entering this week? Were you nervous? Were you relaxed? How did it feel kind of going into this game, and how do you feel moving forward for game 2 this week?
I've been thinking a lot of this race. Like, I feel like we had kind of to win this one, but when we raced now, I wasn't nervous, but it's the all preparation to it.
I only started to feel like pressure when I just saw Ray finish so early. Like, we were both in GT, and I was like, okay, Ray finished, we just have to pull through this climb, and if it goes, it goes. I mean, I haven't seen Houston play, so I don't know how he plays, but anything could happen. I mean, this GT was friendly early, but in the later part, it was like very yuck.
Yeah, the GT as Houston Baba gets a Ganon hug. That's an unfortunate spot for Ganon to spawn. So Houston gonna have to restart that Ganon fight. Yeah, I mean, the GT climb for the most part was pretty friendly. Both of you, going into Aga on 3 hearts nobly. I think you got down to that half heart and had to use that fairy on that Aga 2 fight. I mean, in co-op you're going to get less hearts. It's just kind of the nature of the game, but in Enemizer it does add all that and much more to how well you can execute at the game and how well you can, have the knowledge of the enemies. And we were talking early on about the good knowledge you guys had of knowing that bombs killed certain enemies in one hit, and things like that, where it was just kind of good overall knowledge of the game and ways to take advantage of, back of Eastern, for example, where you had all those high noxes, and I think Nobly killed that entire room with 2 bombs and a couple sword slashes.
Yeah, I stunned up the Hinoxes in the corner and tossed a bomb at most of them because I had the boomerang. And boomerang is the only item that actually stuns the Hinoxes, so Hayfield didn't have that luxury.
I actually forgot all the game to go and grab the powder in where was it again? Minimolcom Cave, I think. And that's kind of nice to have the entire game. If you're low on hearts, maybe you can get some heart refills. Maybe sometimes they stand in the way for you. But I completely forgot about picking up the powder.
I mean, I nearly died at the room before I got 2 fight as well, where Houston died earlier. But I decided when I was on 1.5 heart, because I wasn't sure if I had my fairy yet anymore, so I was just quickly equipping the blue cane, which is one of the best weapons in Enemizer, if you ask me.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, the blue cane or the cape or things like that. Anything that gives you a little bit of safety in these Enemizer seeds is worth the time commitment to get, because you never know when you're going to need it.
And lamp is also valuable, especially early. It's much easier in vanilla mode, not Enemizer, where everything is in the dark room. But it's much more difficult in Enemizer.
As we have Houston Baba finish up that Ganon fight, go ahead and get GG's in the chat for Houston Baba. As this game officially, it goes in Noble Fox's favor with an average time of 138.12 for Noble Foxes and an average time of 142.20 for Missing Two Bows. GG's, we'll see if we can get them in for an interview here shortly as well. Is there for you two, is there any room that really stuck out to you? Because it's Enemizer, you get wacky things. Any specific room that it made you laugh or made you concerned?
Not really. I mean, the seed was kind of friendly Enemizer-wise.
I remember
Ice
one.
Palace Crystal Switch room was a little bit ridiculous. That was a tricky one if you didn't use your magic. Like 2 anti-fairies there and...
Yeah, I remember that room. My room was in the sewers, back of Escape, where you are going to get the key from. So when I got there, I had only bombs. And there was red guards chasing me over the place there. So I didn't manage to do it.
I mean, I feel like we've divided the whole search and conquer things with Hayfield having a 104 collection rate and me a 116 collection rate, so...
Yeah, you guys did a very good job. It was kind of 2 different ways as to where, on Missing Two Bows side, Ray did a lot of the dungeon clearing while Houston kind of looked at the overworld and kept finding new areas that they hadn't gone to. You guys did a very good job of kind of splitting up, of one person did one thing and then you just kind of swapped, and it shows because you guys, you finished within a minute of each other at the end there. So it's very, very well, I think you put it very well, a good divide and conquer kind of approach, and it ended up paying off for you guys.
I mean, Hayfield was in back of thieves because we still didn't have the hammer, so. And as soon as I picked up the hammer, he just, oh, I'm not going to the rest checks here. We can do it with the hammer if necessary. And then
I
we
did the
were a little
attic.
bit afraid of that.
So I did the attic and then save and quit because I don't want to go further in without the hammer.
Yeah, I mean, he would have gone further if we didn't find the hammer, but as soon as we found the hammer, he was like, I'll do the attic since I'm here, but we can do the last two checks downstairs. Like right after. Our plan was initially to go right back to Thieves Down and check those with the hammer from me, but I decided to go Hera instead. And he checked Pyramid and he found Bombo, so I was like, oh, that opens up Turtle Rock. But completely isolated the Ice Palace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean the seed didn't really crack open and give you a bunch of things to do. That's for sure. I mean that finding the hammer did open up a little bit more, but really at the end of the day, you know, it didn't give you so many things to do that spike cave wasn't going to get checked, and you know, we knew on the commentary at that point that it was either spike cave or Turtle Rock. So you know, you guys had split it up nicely. One of you went Harrow, one of you went Turtle Rock, and it just so happened to be spike cave. But yeah, I think overall, good execution of the seed. No incredibly costly deaths, which is always a plus in Enemizer. Is, you know, you can always do that. Luckily, none of the bosses that you committed time to, you like walked in the room and couldn't beat. They were all beatable bosses early. No Trinexes, no cold stairs or anything like that. So yeah, I think overall you kind of hit the nail on the head. It was a nice enough Enemizer seed, and you guys did a good job of splitting up all the tasks. And yeah, GG's to both of you. Do you know when your next game is?
It's gonna be on Sunday, we think. Because why else end the week on Sunday Fun Day with Enemizer?
Well, we will be looking forward to that for sure. As I'm not sure if we're going to get Missing Two Bows in here for an interview, we will kind of start to wind things down. Do either of you have any last comments, concerns, complaints that you'd like to air?
I just remembered you asked me about rooms and areas before. Remember my opening, I went straight to Mini Moldorm. My basically plan was to do Mini Moldorm, Dams, and then Aegina. But there was two rollers there that blocked me off from going back, which kind of hurt me with the flute being in the Dams.
Oh yeah, I do remember those two down on South Shore. Those two big rollers. They weren't even small ones. They were ones that took up the whole map. Like
yeah.
The whole screen.
Yeah. It was because my initial plan was to go to Mini Moldorm, and when I tried to cross back, I was like, oh, I cannot get back to the Dams. And then I realized, well, I have to go for Ice Road Cave now, and then eventually check if fake flipping is a thing. Looks like a race about to
Yeah, it does look like we're going to get Ray to jump in here, so we might get a little bit of an interview with Missing Two Bows. GG, Ray.
Yo, GG.
GG, Ray. Well
GG.
played. How do you feel about those boots, though?
I didn't know about those boots, so whatever.
Yeah. We were worried about those boots for a long time.
No, I don't worry. Because we didn't see, so whatever.
There's a difference. Missing Two Bows never did do a ped check, so had no clue about the boots the whole seed.
Why we should do pet check for me was very early clear. We need to mirror to our go mode. So on pet couldn't be anything to lock the mirror. So because the swamp is mirror lock. So yeah, whatever. Didn't have to check that.
Yeah, we checked like we missing bombos and mirror, I think.
I really early found the bombos. I really early wanted to check Fat Fairy because of that early logic of the both red crystals. And then I
Yeah.
found bombos without any clue, and I was like, okay, maybe it's TR, but I go instantly to ice, but we both, maybe me, forgot to check TR, and I forgot to say him to check it after he's going for the quake and shovel. Yeah, so
Yeah, because we didn't have hammer. We found a bow. And then we didn't do Skullwood's front on the first trip, I think. And then Hayfield went to check the pedestal before I picked up the
Okay.
hammer, I think. Because he was gonna go digging into back of thieves.
well,
Without
but
the hammer.
even the hammer couldn't be on pet, so the very early was clear there can't be anything on pet what matters.
For us, it was
besides-
bombus.
Yeah,
it was
besides
bombos.
bombos, but yeah, we had that enough.
Yeah, so if the big kill would have been on the torch, we,
Yeah.
Could
we
have
would
been,
knew what we should do.
But that case too rare. Sorry.
Yeah. It's 1 in 22. It never happens. It was
Just
nice
what?
knowing it though, because we didn't have to search any dungeons on the way as well. Like we go moded ice. We could basically go mode Turtle Rock, but Hayfield dipped in before I picked up the mirror in Spike Cave.
Okay.
Because someone forgot about Fire Rod is required for Turtle Rock for some reason. So instead of Hayfield picked up the bombos and straight went to Turtle Rock. I was like,
Oh,
I was like, how's Ice Palace going? I'm in Turtle Rock. I was like, wait.
that was silly.
And then he was like, oh, there's a key. I'm going in. Oh, there's another key. I'm going further in. It was hilarious when we were doing that. And then we both was in GT when you finished. I think I was on Compass chest when you finished.
Please.
And
What?
then
Sorry. What?
I think I was on Compass chest area, like on right side GT when you finished.
Don't know why we get so much time on you, because we did some 1KS routing. I mean, the seed didn't really. It was so a straight line. You have just follow the line. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially for co-op, it's just not funny to play that.
Yeah, I think one of the oopses I did was I went Mire before Dark Death Mountain, but I mean it didn't really matter, but it was a save quit extra, just like flying down there to fly up there to fly down there again.
Yeah.
It was just short management. It seems like you were on the right path though, and Baba was cleaning up behind you after what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I did really early. I don't know. Did someone of you did finish Eastern before Aga?
And we both finished Eastern before.
Okay.
Basically, we were both in Eastern together. He was on the rooms in the back. I was in just entering, and I was like, "Are you at the boss? Can we meet it? Are you at the boss?" Because we knew it was one item. And then he's like, "Oh, I found the book. Okay, I'm doing Aga then." And you go do desert. And then he found one item in the front, and I was like, "Okay, just go check the boss. I'm going Aga either way, because if it's not the boss we can beat, then I can't obtain the item. If it's Dark World access, it doesn't matter. I'll do Aga and loop around. Don't have to do it right now anyway." So
yeah, this was the same by us. I mean, there was a really low chance that there is something on behind the book in desert, because the book was already bow locked. So yeah. It's Enemizer, yes, but you can go to the boss and get the book, but even if you are able to do it. So I didn't really thought that there is anything which really happened. really make better.
Yeah, also one of my things there was that, okay, it's a 5-6, you have at least done it. If you find a mirror, you can just quickly go and do that and get that out of the way as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
overall, good game run by both teams here today. It's going to be a tight race between your teams on Sunday. But it was entertaining to watch, and we had a lot of fun. I agree with you that it was very straightforward. It wasn't great to spread out and accomplish things. It was kind of just following each other, but both teams played really well.
Yeah, and with this win, the Noble Foxes and Missing Two Bows are tied at 10-3 on the top of their bracket, or in their division. Amish Paradise is in third place with 9-3, so still a lot to play and a lot at stake here for making the playoffs.
I'm just glad I'm not sitting on the bench because Obscure was sitting on the bench this match, and on Sunday Hayfield is going to be sitting there like a nerve wreck. So
Oh yeah, it
It's-
will be nerve wracking.
it's more nerve wracking to watch it than play it, to be honest.
I will be back.
Yeah. We'll see you on Sunday, both of you.
All right, with that, we're going to wind things down here. We do have another match today going on, I believe, at 7:10 Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. I could be a little bit off there. There is another match on the Open League happening today, as well as, plenty of other matches happening throughout the week. This whole week is going to be co-op 7-7 Enemizers, so make sure you keep an eye out, follow Speed Gaming and the ALTTPR League for all the matches and to be kept up in the loop for all of that. I will toss it over to Floyd. Do you have any last minute comments for this one?
No comments, just make sure to follow our trackers. Big thanks to them, Dayruck2 and MM2 SNES cartridge. They did a great job tracking for us. Thanks to our restreaming, Tali did a great job getting this race out to you. Thank you to CJ for joining me here. It's a great race. A lot of good races this week. A couple more today. So we'll see you then.